Now, AgriSA says it's looking forward to a collaborative and productive relationship, working together with the newly appointed Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen to advance the agricultural sector in South Africa. AgriSA has extended its sincere condolences, congratulations to Steenhuisen on his appointment as Minister of Agriculture and Mzwanele Nyhontso as Minister of Land, Reform and Rural Development in the 7th administration. AgriSA CEO Johann Kotzé joins us now for a conversation. A very good evening to you. I can see you laughing on the side of the screen as I mispronounced the word. Thank you so much for your time. You seem to have some confidence in John Steenhuisen's abilities in this ministry. Talk to us about some of your expectations.
Yeah, so I think the first thing is we're excited about agriculture and the role that agriculture is going to play in the government of unity. And saying that, I think it's the excitement is it feels like a new season that we are in. So John still needs to I would say, prove himself in the sense of being in agriculture. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But I think what we need to, to recognize first is what Thoko did for agriculture is amazing. So there's a lot of good stuff and a lot of good fundamental concepts that she implemented in agriculture, and hopefully John is going to build on that. So even though John is new and coming in, I think agriculture as a sector itself is well settled in the modern economy that we live in the modern times. So yeah, it's exciting to have somebody new like John. However, we still need to go through the motions to see how John is going to do this. So I think the focus and excitement is about the role of agriculture in the government of unity.
As you speak about some of the excitements, of course, those also come with some challenges. Speaking to challenges around drought, around heat waves, around the seismic issues that the systemic issues some farmers are facing across the country as they try and also look towards transformation. What sort of approach are you hoping for as we see John Steenhuisen settling into this role and, of course, coming up with some solutions to some of the big pressing challenges?
I think one main thing is agriculture is not an easy place to be. You just spoke about the droughts and the unforeseen that we deal with on a daily basis. Being a small-scale farmer or just entering agriculture, it's such a risky business. And it's such a difficult place to be. So I think if you look back into the past 30 years, we could have had better success and more success in letting people enter into the commercial space of agriculture. However, you need to have a sound support system from the Ministry of Agriculture supporting the entries in agriculture. So it's a difficult industry to be in, and I think one of the things is transformation is not just a choice where you say we're going to let people in and then you let go. You need to have a plan, you need to support people, you need to take people through the droughts and through the good times and let them enter into a market space where they can join the commercial agriculture. So my take is one of the things John needs to focus on is to see how do you support transformation in agriculture. It's one thing to give a farm, it's one thing to put people onto farms, which is beautiful and the way to go. However, you need to have a sound system, a sound kind of program where you help people to be able to maintain their business through difficult times.
What about the issue of climate change, soil erosion, biodiversity? Those are also some of the pressing challenges which need a more, consolidated approach.
I think the first thing is conversation. I think we need to have proper conversation, firstly on what is needed to farm. We talk about climate smart, especially in the small scale space, because remember, it's costly, it's sometimes very tech when you deal with that. So there needs to be a huge focus on that, because we can't be without the concept of farming climate smart. However, implementing climate smart throughout the range of farmers, small to large, is quite a challenge. And I think the challenge is going to be for the side where there's not money or spare money to put into certain tech and certain production methods to farm more climate smart. So I think a huge focus, even at the export market, if we want to export and our big commercial people want to export, the focus is going to be far greater on climate change and the effect thereof and the way that we mitigate that as farmers. So a big focus on climate change.
As you speak about export, of course, I cannot ignore the big challenge around South Africa's citrus industry, where we're learning of the World Trade Organization and the sort of navigation that the country will need to take, as well as agriculture will need to take in terms of fighting this and ensuring that that industry continues to remain viable.
I think if you look into what is happening politically all over the world, there's a massive change all over. If it's America, if it's the EU, even the Asian countries are changing their whole concept of how they view local production, also production coming in from other countries. So I think we are in for a challenge. One thing I must say is I think South Africa, export-wise, are well situated, specifically to production methods that we utilize to enter into those markets with, even though we have barriers to entry. So I think that the challenge is going to be, do we keep on pushing and putting pressure onto the system to make sure that we maintain the markets that we have? One thing that I think John needs to open up is we need to have more export markets. We need to utilize BRICS and the relationships we have in BRICS, although it is just a platform that we can utilize, not a trading platform. It's a conversation. We need to open up the markets and I would say, the relationships that we have. So yes, it is a difficult place to be when you go when you export, but South Africa is good in exporting and specifically fulfilling the regulations that they put to us. We just need to put more pressure onto the system to open up better markets and new markets. Asia is a beautiful market, and I think Toko did a lot of good work in Asia, and we need to still pursue in that market and make sure that we open up that market.
Logistical crises are also some factors that stand out as you speak about exporting. Also looking at the congestion at ports being deemed dysfunctional, having a big impact on the sector in its entirety. What sort of conversations do you think need to be had in this regard? And also the sort of communication and relationship that you would like to have with the new minister?
So maybe the first thing is, I think we're very good in criticizing. And I think as South Africans, that's one of the first things we do. It's good to criticize, but it doesn't always help to criticize. We need to go back and say to ourselves, there was some good success in specifically the port sector in the past 4 or 5 months. Still a lot to do, but what did we do that worked well? And we need to build on that. And I think one thing that I've learned specific to logistics is the channels of communication. When the horticultural sector started to export their grapes and we took fruits out, you can't wait. It's not a 2 and 3 and a 4 week delay game where you can just hold it back. So then the industry itself participated in dialogue with the logistic people, and I can tell you the success we had was absolutely magnificent. Yeah. So the first thing is, I think it's we know what the problem is. It's not going to help that we criticize and keep on saying what it is. We need to get to a point and say, what did we do well and what did work, and let's build on that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think that would be my plea from John, is to say, John, we need to have conversation, and conversation means with the people being affected, all the stakeholders in the value chain, to make sure that we maintain a good relationship and that we understand the problems that people are dealing with. And I'm also even talking about government, the problems that they deal with. They also have problems as what we have, and we need to we have a proper conversation to understand the worlds that we are in, and then relate to the positive side of it to say, but we had success, let's build on that success.
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. AgriSA CEO Johann Kotzé there speaking to us about some expectations as the new Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen, will be taking on his role.